Good afternoon, teachers. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. As always, I want to take a couple of minutes to go over our agenda for this week, starting at the top of our agenda with the image of Dr. Martin Luther King. I select this image for and this quote for a couple of reasons. The primary reason being that Monday is Martin Luther King Day, and want to take an opportunity to recognize Dr. King. I picked this quote specifically because we find ourselves in a particularly dark time in our country, a time where we are divided as a nation, and a time where we find ourselves surrounded by a great deal of hate. And so I thought the quote, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." I thought this, in addition to the poignancy of it as it relates to the historical moment we are currently in, is also relevant because as educators, I think we're in the business of illumination, in the business of enlightenment, in the business of sharing light, lighting fires, and bringing our students out of darkness. With that said, if you look right below that, there's a little message there that states that given that Monday is a national holiday, if you would like to take an extra day to turn your work in on Thursday as opposed to Wednesday, I'm perfectly fine with that. In addition to that, I shared a link to a flyer about a couple of guest speakers who will be speaking virtually on Monday about the life and legacy of Dr. King. So if you would like to attend that, I want to extend that invitation to you. As is always the case, I follow that with our objectives for this week. That is followed by, if you've had me before, you know I generally share a review of the week's readings or assignments. That's number one on our agenda. Number two is blog posts. As will be the case each week, I ask you to post on your blog one post about the blogger that you're following, one post about the technology that you're using in your own classroom, and then I also ask you to make a post on two of your classmates' blogs. And if you look on this assignment this week, you'll see that I also included a rubric for this week, a rubric for this assignment, a blog grading rubric that I will start using moving forward. Number 4 under our agenda for this week is called Pros and Cons of Technology. And for this assignment, I would like for you to write a short 4-page maximum paper on the pros and cons of using technology in education. This is based on your readings and other sources that you locate or that you have drawn from to inform your practice. Please cite any and all resources that you are integrating into your paper, and be prepared to discuss this in your small groups next week. Speaking of small groups, I made a slight adjustment to your groups this week, so please check those. You actually don't have group work this week. I'm going to give you a week since I made an adjustment to adjust to those changes. With the pros and cons paper, you're going to put that on, you're going to write that in a Google document, and then I've provided a Google document for you to place your link on. Make sure your name's at the top. Make sure that I can access it. Number 5 on our agenda, introductory videos. You expected this coming. I apologize. I don't think I included it on our calendar, but you should have expected it. For those of you who've had me know that, I'm going to ask you to go look at your, watch your classmates' videos, and then I want you to comment on at least three of your classmates' videos. Number 6 on the agenda this week is tech tools. Looking at some AR tools this week. The first one being QR codes. Most of you are probably familiar with QR codes. Provide a little story there about my introduction to QR codes. Sad to say that last year I shared as the second technology, Erasma, which was a wonderful tool that functioned very much like QR codes, where you could attach content to any object. Erasma later became HP Reveal, and unfortunately, it is no longer in service. With that said, what I'm sharing this semester, instead of HP Reveal, I'm sharing merge cubes. Some of you may be familiar with merge cubes. So for those of you who are not, you're going to become familiar with them this week. And then the final is a tool called Metaverse. And if you're a fan of Pokemon or that type of augmented reality, then you're going to like Metaverse. It's a somewhat complex technology, but for the gearheads, the techies that for you out there, I think you'll really find it quite interesting. And as always is the case for the tech tools, you're just going to write a brief reflection on the tools. How do they apply to your classrooms? Do you see any applications? How are you already using QR codes in your classroom? How are you doing that? They definitely have a lot of application in your classroom. What are some of the ways that you may be using them or see yourself using them, in the same way with the other technology. So just a reflection there. And then the last item on our agenda is the summary of assignments. I know from feedback from last week that this is one, that you like the organization, 2, that you particularly like the summary of assignments that's at the end. Again, as opposed to waiting at the end of the semester to give me such wonderful feedback like you did last semester, please reach out to me, as issues, concerns, suggestions arise, and share those with me. I may incorporate them. I may give you an explanation for why I'm not incorporating them. With that said, I'm going to say good afternoon for this week. I hope that you are all well. I hope your New Year's are off to a better start than we're having nationally. And I hope your classes are going well. And I look forward to talking with you next week. Take care and goodbye.